dudettes and dudles. My name is Ayla Sky, and I am here with TossPlays, and Hamilton is here too. Yes, good boy. Yes. And we are gonna discuss the She-Ra reboot, most of all. We're gonna go through some different things, I guess, and everyone in the chat are welcome to ask questions too. Shush, Hamilton. You don't need to be so noisy all the time. No, you do not.
I mean, I think you need to really capitalize on the whole bird thing.
Yeah.
I mean, just like have a bird cam, maybe multiple, for like one at the cage for Sweeney, and then one wherever Hamilton usually sits when he's like flying around or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, Sweeney should have like a little camera, like in a collar or something like that, like you do with dogs and cats.
Yeah.
And then you just be moving around my home all the time.
Yes, exactly.
Jesus.
I think it's a Danish comedian called Simon Talbot.
Mm?
He's doing streaming here on Twitch, and he has a cat cam sometimes because he has two small cats for his cat Vader and Yoda.
Cat Vader and Yoda.
Yeah, that's their names, and it's absolutely adorable. So I'm just saying, maybe you should capitalize on the fact that you have cute birds.
I mean, maybe I could put up like a camera for when I'm at work and then just film them in the cage, maybe. When I reached a point where I would remove the divider in there that is like separating Hamilton from Sweeney.
Mm. Yeah, that would be amazing. Just have a cam, or just like for when you're streaming, have an extra, if you ever will be able to, because of course cameras are expensive. But then like kind of like just like have up in the left corner or something a bird cam.
I should do that for a Let's Play or something. Here's a camera for the birds too. You think that's a good idea, Hamilton? That was a very, very well-timed tweet.
Yes. Tweety bird.
Tweety bird.
Yeah.
Shush.
Oh, and I can see that there's 4 people present. That's awesome. Now, since we have multiple people present, I have to do my duty and plug Ayla's Patreon. Because she never does it herself. And I'm so far the only one paying to it. So please, someone, anyone, if you scroll down, you can see Ayla's Patreon. And support, yes, exactly, Olive. Support Ayla. She makes great content and she's a great person.
Oh.
She really deserves it. And I don't want to be the only one anymore. It's been too long. Yes, exactly, Olive. Give her money.
We're doing the clap and everything too. You just what do you call plugged it? You just plugged my Patreon in time for the stream to begin. There's the countdown. It's gone. Or I'm gonna kick your ass. Olive, there's a lot of ass kicking with you lately, I've heard. You also really just wanted to kick Morishiki from that game. She was not okay with that character.
Oh boy. Well, I stand a strong, independent Olive. What can I say?
A strong, independent Olive.
I'm stressed and angry.
And you're taking it out of fictional characters.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I see that. I feel you. What can I say?
Okay, let's try and let's start with talking about She-Ra, and let's see what happens to the podcast after that.
But
yeah, like I said before, we are here to discuss She-Ra, mostly the reboot, and I guess it would be appropriate to start off with asking ourselves, or rather answering, how did we come to know that this reboot existed? Did we know the original show, and what made us want to watch it? Do you want to start off with answering, or?
Okay, yeah, I can give it a go. Well, the reason why I started watching She-Ra was that I am the lucky person that is able to access my dad's Netflix. And
Freeloader.
Yeah, basically, honestly. I'm not paying for that shit. Anyway.
It's the other way around with my mom and I. She's freeloading mine.
I see. But anyway, and I saw it, and a couple of times was like, should I start a series? Should I not start a series again? And I was like, I put it on the back burner for a bit. But since I am a fan of 2D animation in general, I was like, maybe this could be good. I need something to watch. Let's go ahead and watch She-Ra. And I hadn't really heard anything about it at that point. And when I started watching it, I was like, okay, this seems fairly fine, nice, and just grew and grew, and it was just amazing. I really liked it. I was so happy when I saw how gay it was at first, and how it just became even more gay with time. I was like, yes, this is what I want to see. And
so,
also,
when did you start watching it? Like,
I don't remember.
Okay, so I guess it's fair to assume you started watching it almost when it came out, maybe. So it's a long time ago since you watched
no,
it first.
No, it actually wasn't that long ago. I think I started watching at actually when season 3 had come out or something.
Okay.
I don't know how it had like I hadn't picked up on it till then, but it took me a while.
Well, I mean, I didn't watch it until everything was out, so...
You're one of those people.
Yeah. I was told about, spoiler, the ending, and I was like, okay, if this show really did all of that, I have to see it.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. Wait, so you spoiled for like season 5 ending?
Yeah, I was.
No.
And just, I feel like this is probably... I mean, I'm assuming you're not here for this type of podcast if you haven't watched the whole show or if you care about spoilers, but just FYI. The first thing I heard about She-Ra was a picture of Catra and Adora kissing. That was the first thing I saw of it. And I was like, wait, hold on. And Catra has short hair at that point. So I was like, okay, wait a minute. I had to check. And I was like, this looks like a female character, but they could be tricking me. They could be tricking me. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I Googled it a little bit. And I was like, okay, they are both girls. And I was like, okay, so if this cartoon did that, I need to see how that happened. Yeah. And wanted to know... like the whole thing, and it was very obvious very quickly that the whole show was gay. Like,
it's great. It's honestly
amazing. So many gay characters and mental. What is it called?
Abuse.
Well, that too, but I meant more like there's a few characters where I'm like, oh yeah, you have ADHD, like that type of representation.
I see.
You know,
yeah.
And. Just like different body types and different races and just so much variety, and that kind of hooked me from the get-go. But I gotta admit, through the whole show and also before I started watching it, Catra was my girl. Like, I love her. I love her a lot. And I'm pretty sure that I fangirled when I saw her in that tux in the first season.
I mean, how can you not, honestly? That's just beautiful. That's
it was very beautiful.
Move over, Mona Lisa. Catra in the tux is here.
Yeah, Catra is bae. And so is Scorpia, for that matter. Like,
I personally, Scorpia and Entraptor are my two big favorites of this series. Especially here in season 5 in the Peekaboo episode. Scorpia was just absolutely amazing. It's like that song she sings is so fucking cheesy.
Yeah.
It's just, but at the same time, I love it so much because it's like, especially because like, I think, I can't remember if it's the same episode or a couple episodes before or something, but she has a conversation with Swiftwind.
Yeah.
The horse.
The unicorn, how dare you?
Excuse me, alicorn. You uncultured swine.
A what horn? What did you call him?
An alicorn.
An alicorn. What the fuck is an alicorn? Is that those that fly like Pegasus?
It's those who fly and have horns.
Oh, okay. I thought they were all just unicorns, not gonna lie.
Yeah. That's fair. But she has this conversation with him, and that because we're paired up together to do, I can't remember what it was, but we're like scouting or something, some shit like that. And then Swiftwind is like, yeah, people usually don't always like to be around me because I tend to sing a lot. And then Scorpia goes, oh, I love singing, but Catra always said it was annoying.
Yeah.
And then we get to the Peekaboo episode, and she gets up on stage and she actually does a song. And I think that's amazing.
She sings amazingly well too.
She really does. I was like, I'm pleasantly surprised.
I kind of thought it would have been extra hilarious if her voice was just decent at best, maybe. But it was also kind of amazing to hear that she has a really good voice, you know?
Yeah. I think it's nice that that they show her off as because she's not always the smartest one. So it's nice that, to be fair, so it's nice that they show her to be talented in other aspects.
I also think that's
instead of just like being the one that's the butt of a joke or something.
Yeah. I also think that Scorpia is one of the most like relatable characters. Like she's one of those characters who has like moments and lines where you're like, okay, that sounds like me, you know? Like I still remember that episode that starts off with her, where she like looks at herself in the mirror and says something along the lines of pushing away my self-insecurities, check, or something like that. And I just said, like,
Yeah.
wow, okay, you're just saying it like it is.
That's absolutely beautiful. I think she's just such a sweetheart.
Yeah.
And she's so kind, and she really tries with Catra. I mean, Catra has had to, you know, do a lot of shitty things, both in general towards other people, but also towards Scorpia. Before Scorpia actually said, "This is enough. I'm leaving. You're a bad friend. I don't want to be around you anymore." I mean, it took forever. And that's because she's just such a kind person, such a kind character.
Yeah, I also feel like one of the like near the end where they finally meet against Scorpia and Catra, I mean, like Scorpia just immediately sees that Catra does feel sorry, and that's all she really needs. Like, it doesn't take her forever to forgive her or something like that, and that once again proves that she just is very, very kind. And to me, it was just nice to see that she just immediately forgave her and was like, oh, we're still friends. Because I can see you are sorry. And that's all she really needs, you know?
I think the one thing that Scorpia really wanted to see from Catra was that Catra actually, you know, trying instead of just blaming her misfortunes on everyone else. Which is like, either it was, like, because like she had there were so many times where Catra had the option to do something right in her life instead of just making terrible life decisions. Like, every time it was like, no, I didn't choose not to go with Adora. Adora left me. But she had many times where she could just have been like, okay, I'm just gonna fuck the fright zone. I'm gonna go with Adora. Or like, there's so many times where she could just have said, you know what, maybe I should not be a fucking asshole towards Scorpia or like stab people in the back. But yeah.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, I honestly haven't been that much into the fan base, so I'm not sure what is common opinions or not, but I think I'm one of the people who just never really hated Catra at any point. Like I just couldn't bring myself to really be that angry at her, because I think they did very well with kind of going back and forth with her character, in the sense that yes, she was very evil and mean and did horrible things, but we also at the same time saw her be very broken, be very sad, be very frustrated. And I think to me that helped that helped me seeing her as a person and not just one of the bad guys, so to speak.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's definitely like reasons for why she was, or well, is the person she was before she decided to try and make a change in her life.
Yeah.
But it's mostly in the sense of, like, personally, I like Catra as a character. I think she's super interesting, and the battle she has within herself that is maybe not like set directly, but you can see from the actions taken and her her history. But if Catra was someone I knew in real life, oh my god, I had ditched that bitch ages ago.
To be fair, the world they live in with civil war and all that, it's very, very different from the normal world, you know? I feel like everyone gets betrayed at one point, and everyone betrays someone at some point in this show, and that really, like, because if you boil it down, yes, it's fantasy, yes, it's sci-fi, yes, it's a cartoon, but it's also very much about war. Like, there's war in this, like, that's the main plot, so to speak, and we get to see characters we either hate or love make decisions based on that. And like Olive mentioned earlier in the chat, she hated Glimmer more than she ever hated Catra.
Yeah, same.
And that's a good example of, like, Glimmer, she like her mother suddenly had a lot of responsibility and had to make up her mind about what kind of queen she wanted to be, and is in the long run she tried and meant to do something good, but unfortunately it blew up in her face, so to speak. And
most definitely. We can agree on that totally.
But that's a good way of, like, the war plot, you know, because a really good person can make very horrible decisions, and very horrible people can make pretty good decisions.
I mean, because, if you take it to even real life and history, that's the whole thing about, of course, Hitler is the most bad person, one of them at least, in history, and has done the majority of the things he did was absolutely terrible. But I mean, then you can also look at the smaller things of something that he made sure of doing, like building, motorways, highways throughout Germany, and kind of revolutionized traffic.
Yeah.
Because of that. So it's like, it definitely is the thing that even, like, and you can take to that and look at someone like Shadow Weaver in the series, who is the mother figure to both Adora and Catra, and she is the most abusive asshole I have ever seen in a cartoon that's also sort of for children. But she still has her moments, you know. Here and there where she does little nice things, actually.
Yeah.
But she is just, in the majority of her personality, just someone who seeks power and is only in whatever they're doing for themselves. I mean,
very manipulative and abusive, and definitely.
But you could also argue that even though she does it for her own survival, joining the rebellion and such, kind of half, she's half prisoner, half actual joined the rebellion.
Yeah, but, it kind of just happened.
She actually helps them.
Yeah.
Even though that it's for selfish reasons, she actually does help the rebellion. And you could argue that the act of doing that is good, but the reasoning behind it is not. So it's kind of, I like that she's very a gray character in some aspects. Like that. I guess she's it's kind of like grayish, very dark gray, for sure. But
I know what you mean.
But still in the gray, and even like someone like Hordak had his moments with Entraptor and so on.
Yeah, and wound up being redeemed. Oh no, not redeemed. He wound up having a redemption arc as well.
I don't really see it as a redemption necessarily, because there's no one that actually says, "We forgive you, Hordak. All the genocide, it's A-okay."
No. The only one who really comments on it is Mermista?
Yeah, it's like,
she's
are we just okay with this?
Are we just okay with it? Like, oh, okay. We're just okay with this, fine.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's just like So I think that it's one of those. I feel like that one is a bit ambiguous, I guess you could say, where it's like Entraptor is glad, of course, because she's with her Hordak daddy, I suppose. Hor daddy.
Hor daddy.
And because we will like each other, so it's like that makes sense. But at the yes, Hor daddy. Yes, Olive.
At the end of the day, he wasn't necessarily forgiven.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing like we take you in again. Like, it's more like Catra.
That who has a whole season to kind of redeem herself.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's kind of like how you read into it. Because I've tried to like look into what do people actually think about this, and some are like, no, he didn't get redeemed, or they say he did get redeemed, but it's like what you choose to see, I think, because you could interpret it both ways, or as I do, more neutral, was like it has not been
it wasn't very clear cut.
Yeah, exactly. It's very open. His part of the ending is like a plot thread that is not done, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know what I was about to say.
Yeah, that's fair. But I do like, if we are going back to Catra for a second, that because she's a person who's done a lot of terrible things, and she has, with most people like IRL, she would probably have burned those bridges ages ago. But she does. The people around her do give her a second chance, and I think that's a good message to send, like, to people who have, for whatever reason, or no reasons for that matter, but just have fucked up their relationships in their lives due to, like, let's say, personal issues of in some way. That you do have if you make the choice to change and better yourself and become a better person, then you have a chance. You're not gonna be seen as a villain, or at least not be seen as a villain forever. If you just choose to work at it.
Yeah.
And that's also why I like that she gets this longer period of time where she joins the rebellion, where you can see kind of the steps she's taken.
Yeah.
Kind of like when they're in when she gets that episode where she gets a cat spirit thingy.
Yeah.
Where she's like, okay, I'm working on my anger.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's so awesome to see that it's not just like, oh, I'm good now kind of thing.
Exactly.
And then next episode, she has completely changed her personality.
Yeah, she also says that it's something I'm working on. So, like, she's acknowledging her anger issues. And also, I think it's the beginning is like, Olive, yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Olive. I was
exactly.
like,
The
oh.
reaction from Adora was
Yeah.
absolutely perfect because, like, she also that she's sorry, I was just falling over my own tongue there. Um, but also like that Adora shows that from saying that she understands that Catra is trying, but it takes time. It's not going to be an immediate thing, but she is working on it.
Yeah, I also think like right after Catcher gets on their ship and such, and she and Adora are kind of like still bickering at the lack of a better
Yeah, yeah.
expression, and Glimmer is like asking it, "Were you expecting it to just change overnight?" And Adora's like, "No, but she could try." And yeah, I think that's a good example of like, no, you can't just change overnight. It takes a little bit of time,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
there's some like there's small steps taken with every episode, and yeah, I think that's important that they didn't just change her magically, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Because like one thing that I noticed from earlier in the series was that Frosta, when we first meet her, she's like a bit bitchy, but actually seems to be, a competent ruler, even though that she's a kid. And then like
Yeah.
I can't remember when it happens, but like the next time we really meet her,
Yeah.
she's basically Glimmer, but more annoying. And it's like, what the
Yeah.
fuck happened here?
Yeah, that was how
And
I
there's
felt
no
too.
reasoning behind it, and I hate that.
Me too. I absolutely hated it because there was no indication that she was like that at all when we first meet her.
Yeah, exactly.
If they
And
had
she's not growing into it or anything, or they could have had an amazing plot line with her learning to be a kid
yeah.
because she's ruling her own nation at such a young age. Maybe she has kind of, forgotten, and she ends up allowing herself that she can balance the two or something.
Yeah.
That would have been absolutely amazing. But no, she just instantly changes personality because Glimmer changes her
Yeah.
personality and
Yeah.
becomes a bit more mature. So, what do we do? We apparently have to have this kind of person around.
It feels like they wanted to focus more on Glimmer having to deal with Frosta and maybe like looking at Frost and being like, oh, this is how I used to be, so to speak. And it feels like they decided to focus on that instead. But I feel like they could have done both.
Yeah, exactly.
And it wouldn't have had to be like a huge progression through several episodes. It could just have been that first episode where Glimmer and Frosta have that conversation. It could have just stayed with that one episode if it wasn't something they wanted to deal with.
But I would have loved to see something like that. If of the whole annoying kid kind of character, or whatever we're gonna call it, obnoxious kid kind of character, I would have loved to just them introduce a new person, a new character into the whole thing, instead of changing Frosta out of the blue. Because I would have loved to see something like that Glimmer getting to know Frosta and seeing how she's so young, but taking the responsibility of a leader so well, and like kind of dawns on her that how childish she herself is because of that. Because like Frosta, at first when we meet her, I know. Have you watched Game of Thrones?
No.
Okay, but there's a character called Lyanna Mormont who is a boss ass bitch, and she's like 12 years old.
Okay.
And she's like, they're like parted up in different houses that rule land and such things. And she's the head of her own house because in the war her parents died or something like that. I can't quite remember. It's been a while. But she is amazing. And she is like, she takes charge even though she's so young. And Frosta in the beginning kind of reminds me of her. And I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be great. We're going to have our own Lyanna Mormont in this series. Booyah, people. And then the Froster change happened, and I go cry in the corner. I absolutely love Entraptor. Because like I have dealt with some of the issues that she deals with, kind of like the whole, not to that degree, of course. Mine are way more like minimal compared to hers, but like sometimes social challenges. Whereas like especially with the whole thing about not really realizing, like, oh, you guys like don't like me, or understanding why. This is also sometimes small like stuff like that, and yeah,
Yeah.
which I have worked a lot on and got way better at, or just being like, if they don't like me, there's not much I can do about that, because I have probably most likely no idea, so I'm just gonna move along.
I think my issue with Entraptor probably was the thing that I forget her name, but the flower girl, what's her name?
Perfumer.
What?
Perfumer.
Perfumer, right,
Yeah.
stupid name. But
I mean, yeah.
I mean, some of the names are a little silly here and there, but Perfumer is just so moronic. I never got over that. I do not like that name. I really think it's dumb. And that's not this show's fault, of course. That's the original 80s show's fault. So I'm blaming it on that. I'm blaming it on them.
A big case of fuck you, Hasbro.
But Perfumer says something to Entraptor in the last season, or at least maybe very late fourth season. I think it's the 5th season.
Yeah.
And she basically said to Entraptor what was my initial problem with Entraptor, and that was like how she was so focused on the things she wanted to do and her love for some things that she kind of forgot the people around her who were hurting because of what she was doing. And that was what frustrated me. Kind of like Entraptor isn't this bad, but the character archetype of the person who just does not understand anything of what's going on, and they're only in their own little head and their own bubble. And also as a kid, that just annoyed me so much. I've never been good with characters who are so self-involved with their own little thing or their own little world that they just forget everything else around them, and through that are hurting others. And that's kind of what Entraptor did at the beginning, but it got better, and I started falling in love with her the more we moved on. I actually think that when I loved her the most was when she was with Scorpia and Catra. I loved her there. And also with Hordak. I mean, also with Hordak. And generally, Entraptor in the Fright Zone is my favorite Entraptor. I do like that we kind of addressed the fact that she was, whatever you want to call it, like self-involved, I guess, maybe, I don't know. They kind of address it through Perfumer, but also with some of the other characters a little bit, but it was Perfumer who was the most angry, so to speak. She was also the one who confronted Catra the most head-on, in terms of Scorpia, you know?
Yeah, so that's true.
It was actually kind of interesting to see Perfumer like that, because at the beginning she was just, you know, a hippie flower girl.
Yeah.
And she winds up actually becoming pretty cool.
Indeed, she's really she is a very kind person as well, and she also says that she sees Scorpia's kindness. And she's very much the one to stand up for her friends.
Yeah.
But I think that one of the reasons why Entraptor is doing so well, like in the Fright Zone, that she finally meets someone who, like, both Scorpia, who's a very kind person, doesn't mind all her, like, eccentricities or whatever. And someone like Hordak, who really, really, like, shows that he's interested in what she does with tech.
Yeah.
And I've had the kind of similar experience in my life, because where it was like that I liked really, really super nerdy stuff, and sometimes super niche. And then I finally met some people who was like, hey, that's actually really cool. and not just, pointed and laughed or said it was weird or something.
Yeah.
And that's when I really started to flourish as a person. Because I finally found somewhere, where I felt like I belonged, and that made a huge difference for me. Because before that, I really didn't talk much with people. Because I was like, I don't really know what to talk about, because I was so into the things I were into that I was like, I don't really know much else. So I don't know, what do you want me to talk about?
Yeah.
Because I found and I still find stuff like small talk insanely boring.
Same.
Where I'm just like, can we not?
Can we have an
frankly,
actual
I
conversation?
don't give a shit about what you do for work.
Can we have an actual conversation with an actual subject instead of talking about the weather, please?
Yeah.
I hate small talk. It was something my ex kind of had an issue with, because when we were driving or something, I didn't really know what to say because we were just driving, so we mostly just sat there in silence. And at some point in our relationship, he was like, it kind of bothers me a little that we just sit there in silence. It kind of feels like I'm just sitting there alone. And I remember being like, but the only thing we could talk about would be really boring stuff anyway, so what's the point? And it's just, I hate small talk. I get nothing out of it.
I think there's other things to be able to do in that situation where it's like,
Fair.
well, then I put some music on we both enjoy, and then we can sing along to that. And, there's other things to do.
Yeah.
Because it's also like, why, there's no need to force a conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
In my opinion, because sometimes, silence is okay.
Yes.
I do not mind sitting in if I have a friend over or I'm at a friend's place, I don't mind when we sit and don't talk and do each our separate thing.
Yeah.
I have absolutely no issue with that. Of course, you have to. It's preferable to be quite comfortable with the person you're doing that with, so you're sure that it's not an issue. But it's like, I have no issue with that, and then suddenly you put your phone down, or you shut down your computer, and it's like, hey, do you want to do this thing? And then you do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's no pressure to having to do a specific thing, or having to have something to talk about, yada yada.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very good balance to have, not just in a romantic not just in a platonic relationship, but also in a romantic one, where it's you aren't pressured to having to entertain the other one, and just and if you don't have something to say, I mean, it's when there's other things to do, it's you can reach over, hold the hand if they are not driving with a stick.
You can still do something to them even if they are driving with a stick. I'm not saying I'm talking from experience, but I'm talking from experience.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's when you get, it's so nice to have. I don't like to spend time with people where I'm pressured to do those things. Because then I'm then I don't really want to be here. Then I'd rather be at home and alone,
Yeah.
But yeah, also Olive writes in the chat here is oh, just enjoy the silence. It's fine. It's not silence is not bad. It's how you interpret that silence. Wait, where was we? What were we talking about?
We were talking about Entrapta and how you relate to her, I think.
Oh yeah.
You were saying?
But that's I think I explained how I relate to her,
I think that could also be a good next theme question with Shira or whatever. Which characters and what moments did we relate to?
I actually don't have a specific character I relate. I think if anyone, I relate most to Scorpia and Entrapta. And here's why. Because Entrapta, it's partly because for Entraptor, I see some points in her arc where I'm like, I can relate to that, or something similar happened to me. But she's also like very much the character with like social issues, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Some form of autism, maybe. I don't know.
Something like that,
I don't have enough knowledge to like determine whether or not someone has that, but like I
No,
see
but I
some.
feel like Entraptor is one of the characters in the show where people would headcanon her as autistic or having ADHD or something like that. I can imagine that being a common headcanon for her.
Yeah.
And one of
Um,
both stats.
yeah.
I don't remember which one, but one of them definitely gave me the sense of, okay,
Okay.
there's
Olive
people
writes
who will
here.
headcanon you as that.
Olive writes here, and Entraptor was
Oh,
confirmed to be autistic by the creator. Okay.
yeah, see, I
Awesome.
figured.
Great.
Thanks for the
But
info. That's pretty important to know, actually.
thank you, Olive. You're doing good work. Um,
You are a
but
good
yeah, it's
knight.
like, but she was a bit too, I guess, autistic for someone to. I relate to her, completely. So that was more like partly.
Yeah.
And Scorpio, I related to in the sense of like, keep trying to show someone kindness, but just like the situation she was in where she like keep trying to show Catra kindness, but Catra just constantly shit on her, and or like and betrays her and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And the only thing you really want to see from those people is just I'm sorry and I'm working on it, basically. And wants to see them grow. So, and then you would have forgiven them.
Yeah.
But I just personally came to the point where I was like, that's just never gonna happen.
Yeah.
I'd never like had like a big thing where it was like, I hate you, I don't want to be your friend anymore. I just kind of, stopped talking to people and be like, well, you contact me if there's anything.
Yeah.
And I not like had that conversation, but I was just like, that's what I did, because I was like, it's not gonna help to make a big confrontation about it.
Yeah.
Then if this person like keeps like contacting me, at least then I will know that they want to be in my life.
Yeah.
But oftentimes people just pretty quickly fizzle out, and then I'm like, well, I was right.
Yeah, pretty much. I also don't think I necessarily have any characters specifically where I really relate to them. It's more like moments and such that I kind of felt, If we go on a more kinder and less deep note,
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite moments with Catra was when actually doing that episode where she gets the cat spirit, whatever it is, and she starts sneezing. And Bo is just like, that is so cute, and all this time you were the big bad villain, but you have the cutest sneeze and stuff like that. And I felt that because people have said that about my sneeze too. Like, people have told me my sneeze sounds like a squeaky mouse.
Oh my god, that's
And
adorable.
the funniest, like, I once sneezed at work, and my coworker, she was sitting on like, a chair you can roll around in, See, Olive is confirming it. God damn it!
Olive is confirming everything tonight.
She's spilling the tea. God damn
Yes.
it. But yeah, I sneezed at my job, and my coworker just rolled around in the chair, just gave me this look like, what the fuck was that? And I just looked at her and said, yes, that's how I sneeze. I'm sorry. Because it's just so high pitched and
I
squeaky.
kind of like that you have that kind of sneeze, because I'm so different in that regard. I got like the old man sneeze.
That's the
Where
thing,
it's
because
like, it's so loud, and sometimes there's so much energy behind it that if I'm standing, I do a little jump.
I can imagine that. But that's the
Yeah,
thing,
Olive, it's really a dad sneeze, that's for sure.
But that's the thing, because both of my parents also have what you describe as a dad sneeze. But
Yeah.
for some reason, my sneeze is not like that. I'm sorry, Hamilton.
Yeah.
If Hamilton could sneeze, that would be my sneeze.
Yeah, that's. I actually imagine like it probably sounds like Hamilton or something.
Yeah. That kind of sound.
Oh yeah. It's just like I think it's so amazing every time that I hear people who sneeze like that when they sneeze, because I'm like, how do you do that, like physically? I'm like going to the like science of it all and be like, how the fuck does that work?
How does that happen?
And then there's some people who can like just kill the sneeze sometimes and be like, and they and. And I just look at them and be like, how does your body not get completely taken over by the sneeze?
Olive.
And I like put you like a walking, what the fuck?
She does a jump too.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I have that and the combination with the dad sneeze, so you can imagine how if we were living in a world with cartoon logic, I would like fly away every time.
Now I kind of want to animate that. You need to do a drawing of that too.
Okay, I'll look into it.
Yay.
Um.
Okay. To get back to She-Ra.
Yeah. We go out on some tangents here, but I like it.
I kind of expected that.
Yeah, I mean, it is you and I, so...
Yeah, exactly. I still remember how we spent, like, a half hour or something talking about daddy issues in Stardew Valley.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
That was amazing.
I mean, to be fair, Stardew Valley really is like one of those games. Wait, no. Now we're not gonna talk about fucking Stardew Valley. We're talking about you. I was about to start like analyzing Stardew Valley, but like no, but it's not what we're talking about.
Stardew Valley is a good game to have conversations in. That's about it, right?
Yeah,
That's a short version.
Yeah. Let's leave it at that.
So, next topic, so to speak.
Yes.
Have you seen anything from the original 80s show?
I have not.
The only thing I've seen is a video compilation on YouTube with like 80s She-Ra out of context or something like that. And I remember sitting there and being like, what? But at the same time,
actually, I've watched something similar. Like, I can't remember exactly what the video was, but it was some like funny moments sort of thing, or like weird moments from Shira, because the original Shira. But the only other thing I've watched is like on Netflix there's this docu-series about toys. And there's one on like He-Man and She-Ra and stuff. So I've seen some from that, but they're more like talking about the business side of things of so that's not so to relate. But yeah, so I have no knowledge of the original series.
From what I could tell from that video I saw, apparently She-Ra and Bo are a thing.
Oh yeah.
Like they kiss at some point.
Oh well.
And I was like, okay, yeah, I know she isn't gonna be with Catra. Obviously, I knew that it's from the 80s and she's the actual villain there. But I remember being like, oh, okay, him. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably a fan fiction out there where it's like a throuple between Bo, Glimmer, and Adora. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
Probably.
Just stick long enough and you will find a fan fiction just about anything.
Yeah, true. Rule 34 or whatever it's called.
You are already porn.
If it exists, there's porn of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess that is a pretty good segue into ships and couples in She-Ra.
Oh, yeah. Let's do that.
Were there any characters you shipped who did not get together by the end?
Not that I can think of, actually.
Were there any couples you were surprised got together?
Not really. I'm not. To be fair, I'm not the biggest shipper. It happens that I'm like, oh my god, these two people would be amazing together. But it's not that often. Personally, what I can say is the relationships I did enjoy. Which is like Mimister and Seahawk. I really like their relationship, especially in the Peekaboo episode, where they like, because I'm like, they say it's like Seahawk's old, people he's worked with for something that's
Whose
like
ships he's burned.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden she's like, I might have done the same thing.
Yeah, I love that's
was
exactly
fun.
what I was getting to.
That was very
I
good.
love that moment where there's that one person she doesn't want to like interact with, and she's like, I might have sort of burned his boat.
Yeah.
and then she goes, I just want to know what it felt like. And Seahawk responds like, you are everything I ever wanted.
Yeah.
And that's like, I love that because
Perfect.
that's such a beautiful relationship to have with each other. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, those are not older work partners. Those are definitely older lovers.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
So I just like how they're acting, making sure that they're exes, basically. Don't fuck shit up. And when that happens, and it's just great, honestly. That's a great moment.
Yeah, I love that moment too.
I really want Scorpia to find someone she really likes, but
Yeah, me
I
too.
don't really know who would be a good fit.
Me neither. Like the first
Maybe
person.
Perfumer, but I'm not. I'm a bit on that.
No, I'm not into that either. I think. I think at the top of my head, I kind of would find it intriguing if she was with Hunterella, maybe.
Oh my god. Yes, I stan
Right?
buff lesbians.
Big buff lesbians.
I would love nothing more, honestly. That would be amazing. Two buff ladies, yes, two buff ladies
Indeed.
doing their thing. Olive, that's, whoo, that's amazing. I would really like that. I think that would actually be quite interesting. Yeah, I would scream too. But regarding ships, Ayla, there's something I'm gonna have to admit to you.
Uh-oh.
I don't ship Adora and Catra.
I thought that was what you were gonna say.
Yeah.
How dare you! Betrayal! The stream is over! Our friendship is over! Oh, I'm sorry, Hamilton. I scared
can
him.
explain why, though.
All of it was like, gasp, how dare you!
Down the line, I could definitely see it happening. Maybe. Like, it...
Maybe.
But, yeah. But it's kind of like, this is I don't hate it, like, a little bit I do. But, not and here's why, it's because that they've had such a abusive relationship to each other. Through their whole life. Both their lives. So I just like, I know that of course Catra has been working a lot on getting to be a better person and so on. And they have like built up the maybe kind of feelings through the series. But it's only because of the whole abusive relationship thing, and I feel like Catra at that point at the end was probably not quite there yet to get over her issues and so on. And that's the reason why, because otherwise I can see like down the line Catra becoming a more healthy person. And also Adora being a more of a healthy person because she also has her issues. So So it's mostly because of them both having each their issues, especially also to each other. That I see that I'm like about it. But at the same time, I was screaming to
The
when
timing.
yeah, exactly. I was like, "Damn, Hamilton, okay." Um, but I was screaming when they kissed in the last episode.
Right?
I thought it was amazing, and I was so happy about it. But at the same
Yeah.
time, I'm like, but my relationship is just so based on abuse.
I guess, I mean, I can kind of see your point, but I don't really see the entire relationship as abusive. Unhealthy in some aspects, yeah, but I don't downright see it as abusive. I think to me that's a little too harsh. Maybe again, my opinion.
Yeah.
But like, I can definitely see where you're coming from. I
Yeah.
think maybe if Katra's redemption arc had been longer, maybe that could have worked a little better. But yeah, to me, I never really saw this relationship as toxic or downright unhealthy. It just had its issues that were never addressed enough, so to speak.
Yeah.
It could have been addressed more,
Yeah,
but
because at the
it's
same time, I'm like, of course, like, it's the end of a series, but it's like, if you, like, in reality, it of course wouldn't be the end of the relationship. They were still, like, had to work on things and so
yeah.
on. But I was still like, ooh, I don't know. I love it, yet I don't love it. I have conflicting feelings.
It's also important to note that this is a cartoon.
Yeah,
And it
exactly.
is intended for 7+. That's what it says on Netflix.
Yeah.
So I think
That's a whole lot of angst for
yeah,
7 year
that's my
olds.
point exactly, because even though there's a lot in this show for adults as well,
Oh
it's
yeah.
important to remember that it's for kids too. So there's a
Yeah.
limit to how much they can explore the darker subjects. And I
Yeah.
think this is one of those where it would probably it could easily go over very horribly if they really dive deep into
Yeah.
the deeper angst and such,
Hmm.
like it could
Yeah.
very quickly backfire in terms of the children.
Oh yeah. But the only thing I like to say is what I see in the future post last episode for Catherine Adora is a lot of counseling.
With Scorpia.
Yeah, with Scorpion, a perfumer doing co-counseling,
I would
like
love an epilogue
couples
with that.
therapy.
Personally, I could see Catra and Adora kinda, as time goes on, fixing things themselves, at the lack of a better way to say it. I
Yeah.
think that in the long run, their love for each other, and let's not forget they grew up together. Like, I think that would, in the long run, triumph over everything, but I'm not so naive to think that everything has already been fixed by the last episode. Not at
Oh yeah,
all.
definitely not.
Like,
Definitely not.
like that is not what I'm saying.
No
I just,
fuck way. Yeah, definitely.
I think I liked all the other couples, so to speak, except for Bo and Glimmer.
Yeah.
Because to
Yeah.
me, I haven't been very deep into the fan base. I haven't like tried to study up on the overall opinions in it. But based on a Tumblr post I made, it became clear to me that I was in the minority, at least from my followers, that
Yeah.
I thought it was weird that they got together. I
Mm.
don't mind Bo and Glimmer being together romantically. What I mind is that I felt no build up to a romantic relationship
Oh yeah.
at all. By the episode where she pulls him back to her and hugs him and says, "I love you," not even then did I think it was romantic.
Mm.
I did not catch up on any romantic indication until he kissed her forehead.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, what? When did this happen? Because I did not get, yeah, okay, there are moments where, like, Glimmer is jealous, like at the ball when he goes with Perfumer instead, but, like, friends get jealous too. So to me, it was just so unnatural and came out of the left field. I did not understand I don't understand why they made that choice. It did not feel natural to me at all. It came out of nowhere.
Yeah. I do agree with you there, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, in there's some little justice inside of me that's like, I kind of like this, and here's why. Because like what was built up relationship-wise, what was Katra and Adora through the whole series with hints and then very, very strong hints at the end. And that's a same-sex relationship. And even though I personally is like, maybe you guys like should have waited a little for you both to like get out of the war properly. Maybe just me. But otherwise, I do see them like together. On the long run, in a romantic sense, even though I'm not personally super invested in the relationship. And then Bo and Glimmer got basically no romance. Oh, well, they didn't get any romantic build up at all. But here's the thing. I've seen so many times that when they had characters who are attracted to the same sex as themselves, well, not necessarily homosexual characters, then even though like how the character did not fit together whatsoever, but because they were both gay, they were put together anyway and had no build up because, well, they're gay, so they just fit together. And this time we had the good old switcheroo. Where it was, well, they're some of the few straight people. So I guess they fit together. You
know what? When you put it like that, I kind of love it too. It's like justice all of a sudden, you know? Straight like, people, this is what you do to gay people all the time or something. I kind of see that.
What do you say here? The straight ships were implied. I don't think I remembered then. But
like Memister and Seahawk.
Oh yeah,
that's plenty of hints.
I love that relationship. Yeah. Those two are shit. That's just beautiful. Well, that's also because the relationship makes me laugh, and that also the characters I think are great at the same time. I mean, Seahawk is probably
he's
amazing. That's like with the shanties and everything.
Yeah.
And then like when we were fighting on that boat in a previous season, then it's when Mr. goes, we're gonna do a song, but it's not gonna be a shanty. It's gonna be a rock song, which means it's cool. It's like, oh my god.
I actually shipped Seahawk and Bo at that first episode where they met, where Bo was just so in awe of him and just admiring completely.
I remember
Seahawk held him in his arms, and I was just like, this is a gay ship I really want to get behind.
Oh yeah, same.
I
would have loved that.
Go
honestly.
away, Glimmer.
Yeah, I remember, now that you mention it, I do remember that and being like, oh my god, I hope this happens.
Right?
Yeah, because, those two.
You know what? Glimmer and Memister can get together then instead.
Well,
I wouldn't give a shit personally, but...
I kind of like that with Memister and Seahawk, that they have clearly been dating previously to when we first meet Memister.
Yeah, probably.
That is like how she interacts with him and everything, because like she says she hates him, but she doesn't, it makes her guards like throw him out immediately. She kind of lets him stay, so you're like, you say that you don't like this guy.
You're a liar.
So I kind of like that they've had their ups and downs with their relationship, and also that going back to like the Peekaboo episode in season 5, where because when the relationship she must have had to the person where she burnt their boat to know what it felt like, that must have been in between her dating Seahawk in a breakup period they had. That's my headcanon, at least. Where it's like that she was like, I'm gonna find someone totally different than you and me. And then she's like, I wonder how it feels to burn a boat like Seahawk did. And then they end up together again. I think that's like so poetic and beautiful in a very comedic way.
I can see that.
Yeah. How do you feel about when talking relationships? How do you feel about Spinnerella and Natasha?
I thought it was nice to see an already established romantic gay relationship from the get-go. That was nice. I do think Natasha's name is the lamest thing I've ever heard.
Really, Spinnerella is that the lamest one you've heard?
No, Natasha is worse because that's an actual pun. How dare you? Spinnerella is just a little dumb. Like, Natasha is a pun. Like, she literally explains her name. What I do is, in my name, I was like, really? Really? Wow.
I don't remember her explaining her name, but I might just have a bad memory. But I agree with you. Also because you see, not just an already established gay relationship, but, excuse me, but one that's well functioning.
Yeah.
You know, one where they are happy together.
Very much so. And also just, again, to return to the different body types in this show, like, holy hell. There's not two characters with the same body type. That's very refreshing to see.
Yeah. The closest thing that's the same, I would say, is Adora, when she's just Adora, and Catra is kind of similar. But they've also been trained in the same army, so
they're
that kind of makes sense.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, and when Adora turns into Shira, it's like muscle mama.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe muscle daughter, because the real muscle mama is still Scorpia.
And Hunterella.
Oh yeah. Her redesign.
Her redesign do you mean in comparison to the 5th season?
Yeah,
when she gets
a new outfit, basically.
I love the 5th season design so much more, personally.
Yeah, same.
I thought it looked so much cooler than the fucking skirts she was wearing through the rest of the show. I hate skirts. They're lame.
Wait, skirts?
Yeah, it's like shorts and skirts together.
Oh, I see.
I hate skirts.
I think it was cool for not so much the design reason, because I thought the first one was okay. But the first one, I may remember this one, but it looked way more like Mara's, doesn't it? Maybe I have to look that up for.
I think actually the 5th season redesign of She-Ra looks closer to Mara's design. To Mara's She-Ra design, I think, actually, because they both have, like, not necessarily bodysuits, but something like that. But yeah, I haven't watched the original 80s show, but I did look it up just to see the different characters and the designs and the difference. And from what I could tell, they definitely made it way less sexy. And I'm very okay with that, because obviously Adora, we don't actually know their ages, do we?
I mean, they're teens.
I would say that too, yeah.
I would say that when the show starts, I would say that Adora is maybe 15.
But do we know that? Like, have the creators said anything about their ages? Anyone's
not that
ages?
I know of. Olive? Do you know?
Do you know Olive? I don't think she does. I've asked her before, I think.
Olive is our fact checker.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't think they have really said anything. So technically, I mean, there is a big difference between 15 and 19.
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
example. But yeah, in general, I do like the original 80s Shira design because I think it's pretty and it's sexy and I do like it. But I gotta admit that there is that, when you see the reboot design in comparison, you do kind of get this feeling of, yeah, the original was a little too sexualized maybe, but to be fair, original 80s Shira is probably, I hope, way older than Adora in the reboot.
Yeah, I
I
mean, just
hope.
like look-wise, I'd definitely say that she must have turned 20 at least. I mean, there's no way that...
I think she looks 30.
Okay, never mind.
I don't mean that in a negative way. I just think she looks like an adult, Whereas the characters, or the majority of them in the reboot, all look like teenagers or just very
and
young
act
adults.
accordingly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also like, I don't know exactly how long time the show takes place, because
we don't know.
Sometimes it like picks up immediately after, like between season 2 and 3, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And then of course that doesn't go much time, but sometimes we go amount of time, and sometimes there's like in show, it feels like, okay, some time must have passed with this, or this mission cannot have been super short, like they show it, so stuff like that. So I think, of course, I can't remember how, like, for every episode, how time moves and such, but I would like to think that they've gotten a few years old. If you say that, let's say Adora and Catra are like both about like 15 and Max 16, I'd say. But that's pushing it minimum, like 14 to 16 years old.
Yeah.
And Glimmer, I think, is a bit young, like maybe 2 years younger than Adora or something.
Maybe.
And Bo, like a year or something older than her. Like just based on maturity levels when we first meet him. And I'd like to think that goes like maybe 3 years.
Yeah.
Over the series or something. Something about that.
I don't think I've thought too hard about how long the show is. I think I was mostly wondering about it because if we take a somewhat popular kind of non-canonical ship in the fandom, like Entraptor and Hordak, I guess I kind of look at them and like, what are the ages? Because on one hand, I'm a huge believer in if it's fictional, it doesn't matter. But on the other hand, I'm kind of curious what their ages are supposed to be.
I'm actually curious about Entraptor's age.
Yeah.
Google machine, help me. Entraptor.
From what I've been able to search up, there is no actual, yes, this is her age. With any of the characters, actually. Like nothing, like there's nothing on the Wikia, there is nothing from the creator, blah blah blah.
I'd like to know, because I heard somewhere, I don't remember where it is, that she was like close to 30 or something.
Yeah, bullshit.
But at the same time, I'm like, where do you have that information from?
There's no way she's close to 30. If that's the case, she's a fucking trap.
Well, another kind of trap, but yeah.
Yeah, but still,
Yeah.
Entraptor.
Exactly. Oh,
You gotta do a Japanese evil laugh.
A Japanese evil laugh?
Yeah. You have clearly not watched enough anime if you don't know that. Like, if it's a female villain, like an annoying, snooty female villain, they all had the same evil laugh.
Okay, I don't think I've necessarily watched...
Does it help if I say it's kind of like the Santa Claus laugh?
Insert man dog laugh. Oh, Oh yeah, that's pretty good. Oh, that's actually very good.
But yeah, the Japanese female laugh is like or something like
Oh,
that.
that one.
Yeah, that one, right?
Yeah.
Super
I
annoying.
don't think I watched any like anime where they had like villains like that. For a long. I think my taste in anime is a bit different.
I don't
Maybe.
know. One of the first animes I watched was Order High School Host Club.
That's a good one.
Yeah, okay, so we have some similarities in anime taste.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. I've watched it through so many times.
Have you seen the English dub?
I have. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. That was my
I would
thought
like
too.
it. Yeah, I actually would like it. I have started to actually prefer it to the Japanese one.
A little, yeah, because it's just that good. So based on that, I would say when it comes to English dubs of anime, go for Funimation and stay the fuck away from 4Kids and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Funimation can dub Japanese stuff. No one else can. End of discussion.
Yeah.
Only Funimation.
Is there anything like the series remind you of, like other series or anime or whatever?
I mean, I guess based on the transformation thing, you could argue there is some magical girl anime in there. Yeah. Like Sailor Moon, Tokyo Mew Mew, blah blah blah.
Well, I would say it definitely is a magical girl show.
Yeah.
With that transformation and everything.
Yeah. But I'm really glad that the transformation isn't 2 minutes long.
I agree with that one.
I would have skipped that so hard. I hate the long ass transformations. Fuck off. Oh, hi Hamilton. He just sat on my head. And now he went off again.
I see. Something that the show reminds me of, like not like it's a complete copy or anything, far from it, but it reminds me as a combination of Avatar: The Last Airbender and Star Wars.
Okay, I haven't watched Star Wars, so I can't comment on that part. But
you have not what?
I have not watched Star Wars ever.
Oh, Olive commented, "Oh, I do see that." Yeah, because like it's kind of like the whole thing, like with we have the one of the character.
What Olive said.
Yes, but that's good.
I watched Avatar though, and I love it, and I do understand the comparison. I definitely see it.
Well, we have the whole like tragic villain kind of thing with Catra, also the redemption. Even though, as Olive also pointed out earlier in the chat, that it's still not as good as Zuko. Everyone that does a redemption arc wants it to be as good as Zuko's, but it's just not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen.
He's too good a boy, at least at the end of the series. But it's kind of like with like the princesses having their different powers, usually elemental based. And then there's Entraptor.
Yeah.
Something. But of course,
that's where the sci-fi also comes in. I kind of love that this cartoon is fantasy and sci-fi.
Yeah, I think that's both pretty good.
It's very
but it's
rare.
Also like
it's very rare that we see those two things put together and being put together well.
Yeah.
But in this world, it works. Peekaboo.
It's also like you could also draw a comparison to some of the evil characters to the relation of Emperor Palpatine in Star Wars and Darth Vader. Especially, I feel like that Shadow Reaver has a similar arc as Darth Vader, where he does a bunch of was like evil through the whole thing and then does one good thing at the end, sort of thing. And then they die. So don't really get redeemed, but there could have been hope for redemption, sort of thing. And then of course both series have the character who's like seen as the one who would like save everything, which is in Avatar is Aang, and in Shira it's Adora, and in Star Wars that's Luke Skywalker. And at one point it was Darth Vader as well, but that's another story. But yeah, they have some similarities there, and I feel like that's it draws from elements from both of those, which I really like personally.
Well, I can't speak on behalf of Star Wars because I don't know enough to actually say this. I'm just gonna trust you on that one.
Okay.
But I definitely see the comparison to Avatar.
It's also the setting of like a lot of lovable characters and fun moments, but at the same time,
Very
it's
deep
during
and dark.
wartime.
Ah.
Yeah, and it's deep, and it's actually also deep and dark.
You
In
could
certain
you could
aspects.
you could argue that Avatar had the what's the word? The I need to Google this word, and
Okay,
I'm
that's
gonna
fair.
be so annoyed when I see it because I know I'm just gonna be like, oh, of course that's it. But
Yeah.
it's like when you kind of just forget the actual word. Advantage. There it is. You could argue that Avatar has the advantage of being a much longer show.
Oh yeah.
And
Well, actually,
from what I
because Avatar: The Last
hey,
Airbender had
I was
3
still
seasons.
talking.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I was about to. I was just like going straight into nerd-splaining.
Well,
My bad.
my
You
point
go.
was, from what I could understand, the people behind Shira didn't have a lot of time to make each individual episode in comparison to Avatar.
Oh yeah.
That's all I wanted to say. So what were
Oh,
you
okay.
saying?
I was saying that Avatar had only 3 seasons. I thought you were relating to how many seasons and much time there was for the whole thing. And of course, but they did have longer seasons as well. So they had like 20-something episodes.
Avatar is a longer show in general.
Yeah. But anyway, should we get back to Shira?
I'm not even sure what more we can talk about except for LGBT, but we kind of already talked a little bit about that.
You asked me some. I guess we could share the reason for why we're even doing this podcast in the first place.
Yeah, double trouble.
Yeah, which was that Ayla wrote me, sent me a message, where she had. I think you're just like finished watching season 5 or something.
No, it was actually a week later, I think. I just thought about it on my way home, I think.
Oh, I see. But at least you kind of like vomited messages.
I sent like 3 questions at once or something.
Yeah, suddenly I had a lot of questions. I was like, what?
I think it was something. I kind of want to go and find the message now and just read it.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna do that.
Ayla sent me just explaining the situation. Ayla sent me all these questions about what I thought and yada yada, and I was like, this is a lot. And I just suggested if we could, when she had the time, we could just do a call and talk about it and geek out about it and such things to discuss until the early morning. And then Ayla came with the great idea of doing a podcast, which is what we're doing now. So, and that was like earlier this week.
Yeah, it was Wednesday.
It was decided, yeah. So it was quite it didn't. So I was I was like, oh, okay. I mean, yeah, sure, whatever. We can do it.
I found what I sent to you. I asked you, have you watched She-Ra yet? And you said, I have. And then I said, do you find Double Trouble relatable? Do you want to get crushed by Scorpia? Do you ship the almighty Catradora? That was what I wrote.
Okay, but I've already answered one of them. That is kinda, not totally, with the Catradora. A bit iffy on that one. But not totally against it. Crushed by Scorpia. Yes.
I do want her to hug me, not gonna lie.
And just
carry me in those big lobster arms.
I just want her to take those great pinches of hers and just mm. She is absolutely amazing, and I mean, she's not always the cleverest person,
I
but
love her for that.
she's just so sweet,
She's
and I would
adorable.
like, if I met someone like Scorpia, I would date them in an instant. I would like, yes, muscle mama, take me with you. And then it
Double
was
trouble.
yes, Double Trouble. You asked if I related to Double
I
Trouble.
was kind of being sarcastic. I didn't mean it very seriously, but I am curious what you think of them.
Yeah, okay. As a character, I think they're very entertaining, but I don't. But because of the personality of Double Trouble, I don't really relate, because I relate more like situations in life and personality. Or like ways of like ideology or like values and stuff like that is how I. So, but however, would I want Double Trouble's powers? Yes, I would probably kill one or two people to get those powers.
I totally see that.
Yeah, I would love that. But that would be absolutely amazing. It's like very much in line with my interests, that's for sure.
It's in line with my interests. Oh my.
It's like, as someone who identifies as non-binary or gender fluid or whatever you want to call all those different things, it that would definitely be in line with my interests.
I mean,
Like,
not gonna lie, when I found out that they were indeed a non-binary character, I had to search it because I wanted to be sure. And I was like, that's perfect for a shapeshifter.
yeah, exactly.
That's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. That's like, oh my god. If all people who identified as being non-binary got shape-shifting ability, I mean,
Yeah.
they would rejoice in they would have, that would be so many feelings.
Also, imagine being a gender fluid person and just being one of those that feels very strongly one gender over the other from day to day. Imagine being able to really just design yourself depending on your mood.
Yeah, exactly that. Oh my god, my life
Oh,
would be.
the voice actor is non-binary too.
Oh, that's quite nice.
That's cool.
But yeah, it's. But oh my god, I would like, if I got shape-shifting powers like that, I would be like, yes. But because like it's like dysphoria in any sense. What was that? I don't know.
What are you talking about? I can be whatever I want. Oh,
Yeah,
excuse
fuck
you,
you.
Hamilton. Hamilton
Fuck
wants
you,
to be a
whatever.
raptor, obviously. Yes, you want to be
I
a
can see
raptor.
that. Honestly, I can see Hamilton wanting to be a fucking raptor. But yeah, like in that sense, I wish for Double Trouble's powers for sure. But I mean, it's not the kind of person I would like to be around, you know.
Oh, I would. I love them.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's mostly like the
In a
like
normal world, but not in a war world, then I would not be okay with them.
yeah. When I say I wouldn't want to be around it, I do mean as in
That world.
as in me interacting with that person as I am. And like they're a very entertaining personality, and again, I do love the character. But if I had to deal with that person,
Same Olive.
yeah, that's true. But I do love the character, because I think the character is absolutely great. But with the whole just changing sides, or whenever it fits the whatever goal or whatever, when you don't, oh, now I don't really feel like being around you or shit like that, kind of shifty like that.
Yeah.
I don't appreciate those kind of people.
No.
So I would not be their friend. I would maybe tolerate their presence, stuff like that, but I would not be close with them or anything. But still, the character, I think, is amazing, very entertaining, and Also, like, again, the thing is, I don't like shifty people, but I do like shifty characters in stuff like this.
Yeah.
That I really enjoy.
It's kind of like the same with Catra too, because obviously she's kind of a bitch in her universe, but you kind of love her anyway.
Yeah, exactly. You love her.
Because she's a character in the long run,
Yeah,
She's entertaining.
yeah, of course. And that, but I like to also like discuss like because you can. It's kind of like I love I love to hate you or I hate to love you kind of thing. Because like I really like I have like with Catra, I love her as a character, but I also like to look into how would this like in a real life setting, how would this work out for this person?
Yeah.
What do I feel about it? And like because I like to really think about those things, I guess. And that's just me. So yeah, again, like Double Trouble, Catra is a character where I'm like, I love you in the series, would not have you as a friend.
Nah, probably not. But not gonna lie, despite her being, I guess, a better person, I wouldn't want to be Perfumer's friend either.
Yeah.
Like, she might be a better person in a real life aspect, but she annoys me so much.
Okay, let me know what aspects of her do you find annoying.
Why?
I'm curious, since you mentioned it, let's dive into it.
Okay. I was wondering if you were like, oh, I relate to Perfumers and I'm scared you dislike this thing or something. Oh, yeah. I agree, Olive.
Yeah, same. Bo and I would be like the bestest friends, but because we're both people who try very hard with the people we love and just want to make them happy. So if that would be a perfect combination of having two people doing that and actually feeling, also receiving that from the other person instead of just because I've had friendships, as I also kind of mentioned before, where it's like I feel like I give so much to this friendship, but I'm not receiving anything back. So me being friends with Bo would be the greatest thing ever. But yeah. Wait, what were we talking about?
Perfume and why I don't like her.
Yes, why don't you like her?
I think I dislike Perfumer. First of all, there is the minuscule thing, and that's just Hamilton. What the hell kind of sound is that? Oh, sweetie, you've taken a bath, I see. He's very wet.
Oh my god.
He's been bathing in his water bowl. Oh my god. So I need to change the water before I go to bed. Okay. Hamilton likes Perfumer. Yeah, you're right, Olive. That's why he's pissed. Shush! It's every time I say her name, he's like, wah! Okay, anyway, Perfumer, my issue with her, if you start with just the minimal kind of, this isn't an important thing, but I kind of want to say it. I've never been a fan of hippies.
And like that's the hippies not as a character or in general?
In general, honestly, and that's not as in, oh, I hate them or something very strong. It's just the hippies I've met in real life, at least those I've met, I obviously that doesn't count for all hippies in the entire world.
Yeah.
But those I've met kind of gave me this sense of self-righteousness, like they've seen the world for what it really is, and I just don't get it yet, that kind of person. And
you mean like a stereotypical vegan?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
Kinda. And I guess I kind of got the same vibe from Perfumer every now and then. But I think the part that made me really dislike her, at least in that particular moment or episode, was the way she talked to Catra at one point. And there's also this other moment that was actually more important, but the one that springs to mind first is Catra. But that's definitely based on the fact that I really like Catra, and I fully understand where Perfumer came from. I'm not disagreeing with what she said to her about Scorpia and such, but it kind of just made me a little, whoa, okay. Because here's the thing, here's the thing. Perfumer wasn't wrong in what she said, but she was basing her entire opinion of Catra despite her never having actually met her.
Yeah. I know what you mean on
I
that.
get she's the villain, she's done horrible things. Again, she doesn't say anything that's incorrect. I've
Yeah.
just always had a huge issue with people who judge a person's entire personality based off of a few facts they know about them.
Yeah.
I've experienced that myself online, both with myself, other people, friends, etc. Like some people are so quick to jump to the conclusion that you're a horrible person, all in all, based on just one or two facts about you that they disagree with.
Yeah.
So I guess to me it was a mix of I love Katra, but it was also a mix of that feeling, because I got that feeling from Perfumer. Like she was very quick to judge Katra despite having never actually met her or even been around her. And again, she's not saying anything that's wrong, technically, but from her standpoint, I personally thought she was out of line. As a viewer's standpoint, she was totally right. But again, we are the viewer. We are the almighty viewer. We see everything. She does not.
Yeah,
So that
true.
bothered me personally. Shadow Weaver was a really shitty boss. She would have done this.
I mean, she would definitely have been on the top 10 shitty bosses list. Beneath Hordak and then Horde Prime.
I mean, Horde Prime is basically a Nazi, isn't he?
I think not so much a Nazi. I think he's more of a cult. He reminds me of a cult leader.
Couldn't you argue that Hitler kinda was in a way too? Maybe not really, but kinda. Like I think it's more like the implication of he wanted to make the world perfect in his image.
Oh yeah.
That is kind of what Hitler wanted to do too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
So there is a little meh, but you're very right about the cult leader thing. Like
it's kind of like they all like. Of course, in this case, they are actually clones, but they all wear the same thing.
It is basically
And they
the
call
I
each
am
other
perfect
brother and stuff.
Yeah. Like yikes.
Yeah. And we all kind of look at him like he's some sort of messiah. But yeah, actually, what do you think of Horde Prime as the sort of new villain of the series?
I found it very intriguing.
Yeah.
I liked the switch and the build up to Horde Prime, because Hordak, he was the villain for a long time, but they were building up Prime not just through him, but also by mentioning him and talking about him.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you kind of knew that Hordak wasn't gonna be the ultimate villain at some point.
Yeah.
It was going to have to change.
Mm.
So I liked Horde Prime.
And it's also quite interesting because, like, you can kind of connect the dots between Hordak and Horde Prime, like when there's the scene where Hordak's armor is off, and you see how he's kind of withering away, and just desperately trying to keep himself alive, and even trying to make clones of himself, but it never quite works. He doesn't have proper technology to do so, and he's kind of like copying what Horde Prime was doing.
Yeah.
And like also when you are on the ship of Horde Prime, then you see how he's like, well, when my vessel basically withers away, like we saw was happening to Hordak, I just get a new one.
Yeah.
Just take over a new one.
Fucking scary.
Yeah, that's okay. And it's like, that's how I've managed to live for millennia. And it's like,
it's also very inhuman, like his followers at the lack of a better with his brothers.
Yeah.
Like
because they are big hive minds.
Yeah, like they aren't alive in his mind, they're just objects.
But at the same time, they aren't just objects, because I mean, he does use he I think it's how do you say It's hard to explain. I don't think he necessarily sees them as objects, but because they are all him, sorta. And he like basically the one that we see with the dreadlocks are basically just his favorite vessel to be in. Because you see that he can go into all the others.
Yeah.
Like and take over. And when his I guess his main vessel dies when it's thrown off the side of a platform.
Yeah.
He just takes over the one that was still up there.
Yeah.
I mean, so he just continues. So because of that, which I think is, I don't think he necessarily sees them. I think he sees them just like not necessarily as objects because they are him, basically, literally, actually, since we're clones. But it's more like
he doesn't see them as individual
He
beings.
doesn't value them.
No, yeah.
Individually, because there's like so many of them. First of all, and he literally constantly makes more.
Yeah.
Like they are in production.
I also think the design of his hair, so to speak, is really cool.
Yeah,
like when you see him reloading or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Like, and his dreadlocks just go back in place on his body. It was like, whoa, okay. That was really cool. In general, also, both him and Entraptor's hair, like, this show loves hair.
Yeah.
Like, it has a hair fetish.
Also, like Shadow Reaver, when her hair is, like, flowing around like that, that's so cool.
It's amazing.
I do like how Entraptor is just such a tiny person, but she has those giant pigtails that she can literally control.
And
oh my god, maybe her
limbs.
element is hair.
What?
Maybe her powers are just hair. Controlling her hair. Because one else in the series does that.
That's true. That could be her princess power.
Yeah. Or she's just focused on tech.
Yeah.
She's kind of like sort of Dr. Octopusy sort of thing. How she walks, like, power hair. Yeah, exactly, Olive. With how, like, because Dr. Octopus in the Spider-Man universe, he has those, like, arms, mechanical arms, but she just has, well, her pigtails instead. That walks around and does the thing and fights with, she can fight with and whatever.
I love the episode where she had got trapped, or whatever you want to call it, by Scorpia and Catra, and her hair was put in like
yeah.
They were being restrained too, and it just made no difference because she could just go out because of the hair.
Yeah, because like it's hair. How are you gonna restrict it with fucking handcuffs?
Yeah.
It's like
when her hair has a mind of itself.
To be so insanely tight. And like normal handcuffs don't do that.
I don't think, like, is it even possible to do that if your hair can actually move on its own? Like, if your hair can move on its own, then technically, if you pull it up and just hold it as if it's a pigtail, then your hair should be able to just go back in place, even if you are holding it.
Yeah.
Because it's hair.
I'm just saying that if it was enough pressure around it, that maybe could hold it in place. But it's just like, they would have to develop very specific forms of handcuffs. For that to work. I couldn't just, put her in any whatever. It made more sense when Horde Prime was just holding her by her pigtails.
Yeah, it actually did.
Like, when using handcuffs, because in that situation, it is like a constant pressure that's been laid on it, and not just like handcuffs closing around.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Her hair is amazing. I love it.
Yeah, I think it's awesome too. And it's also I like when Natasha points out people's vulnerabilities or weaknesses. And then when she comes to her door, she's just like big hair envy to Shira. But she's apparently so jealous of Shira's hair.
I mean, do you blame her?
Not really. I mean, that's some amazing hair.
It's also a funny moment with Catra. She's all like you don't know anything about actual threats, and then she just pours water on her. And on one hand, that's hilarious, but in the first season where we first meet Seahawk and Memista and such, we see Catra also not liking the water because she's on a ship, etc. But near the end of the episode, she actually gets thrown in the water and she seems just fine. Like, she's not freaking out there.
Yeah.
That was a little like, okay,
I think it's in the case of like when you're first in the water, you know, then it's like you don't necessarily like it, but you just kind of have to accept it. But it's like also sometimes like the thought of getting wet or something. Like,
do you like getting wet? Yes, I know what I said.
We have a bird.
Sweeney loves getting wet.
Maybe it's because the spray bottle.
No, because I think in the last season too, like Memista, when she's under like Hort's power trip, whatever the hell it is, the hypnosis thing, right?
Yeah.
Like Catra's all, why did I have to get the water princess or something?
Yeah.
And you can see her just being like, I don't want to go near the water and all that. It's just, I love that she actually has cat-like abilities, and that's also a thing because like the people that exist in this world, like there are what you probably call humans, there are the princesses, then there's Catra, who's a cat, then there's Shadow Weaver, who is also like an entity of her own, and then there's like the big you know those three horde soldiers, like the girl and Kyle, and then this big dude whose name I can't remember.
He's a lizard.
Yeah, like there's Catra, who's
and also Scorpia, that's just for people composing completely of scorpion people.
Yeah, like we only see these individual characters. We don't necessarily see others that look like them.
Yeah.
And it's actually kind of interesting.
I was like, where the fuck is Catra from? Because you kind of like, because we see like the just human girl, I can't remember her name, but like that's with Kyle and Lizard Guy. Hanging out with those dudes. I expect that she's probably originally from Bright Moon, or some of the princesses of human princesses' kingdoms, you know, taken from there originally, and probably also Kyle, because like it must be sort of like that, because when we see Scorpia and what her people was, they were all scorpion people, so must like make by that you must make the logical step and saying, well, in that case, all of Catra's original people must all be cat people, or some kind of cat people,
and they don't exist anymore.
Not that we know of, at least.
We could maybe come to a guess, at least, that it's one of those planets that Horde just extinguished.
Yeah. But it's also, but don't dive into that, and it could also just be one of there's all kinds of different people or like nations on the planet that they inherit. I can't remember the name of it right now, though. Well, what was it? So I think it's, I mean, we even see a fucking mushroom people kingdom in season 5, which we have never seen before. So I'm like, you know what? Cat people being around somewhere, not that far of a stretch.
I would kind of love to see other cat people.
Yeah, same. I think it's unfortunate we never saw anything else, because apparently there's also like literal lizard people around.
Of course, there has to be.
Yeah. And also whatever Shadow Weaver is. Well, she used to be more she's more like demon-esque.
Yeah, I guess it was
She used to be way
because
more human.
she fused with the magic, I guess, and then became this creature on its own, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Because before that, she was just, so to speak, a normal sorcerer, right?
Yeah, that was how I thought of it as well. But she does have those pointy ears, so I guess she could be some sort of other humanoid, I guess, because, well, they are all humanoids, based on whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, if you even think about it, Glimmer's mom has wings,
Yeah.
so, and Glimmer's dad does not. So I'm like, they are clearly not cut from the same
Yeah,
stone, if you know what I
exactly.
mean.
Isn't
And
Glimmer's
she's
mom the
she's
isn't Glimmer's mom the only one who has wings, actually?
yeah, but we don't see anyone besides Glimmer from Glimmer's mom's family. Caster or Caster Speller is Micah's sister. So we only see like extended family in regards to Glimmer's father. And yeah. So I'm like, there's a race of people out there in that universe, or like
Yeah.
on that planet probably, who are super tall and has wings.
Very
And Glimmer
possible.
is a mix of that and just people.
Yeah, I guess. A sorcerer, I guess.
Well, sorcerer is like something you can learn, not necessarily. I guess you could say that it's like have magic.
I mean,
Um,
Bo, for example, he can do magic. He is what I would say a human in this world.
yeah.
Like, he doesn't really have any abilities
Mm,
or any, like, design things that implies that he's anything but a
yeah.
human.
Yeah. But at the same time, Glimmer, like, she learned magic. And the reason she could use magic was because she was connected to the stone of her nation.
But wasn't it also because, like, Micah is a sorcerer?
Yeah, I don't know, because she was an especially talented sorcerer, at least they stated, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
But it
same thing
doesn't
was said
seem
about
like that it's
Micah.
something, but I don't know if it's something you're necessarily born with. But then like when we talk only about the people in Bright Moon, that is.
I just
Because
remember
it
Shadow
seems,
Weaver saying the same thing about Micah.
hmm?
A Shadow Weaver called Micah a really skilled sorcerer too.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, maybe like she has probably inherited some. Maybe she has inherited some power, but it's like we don't really go. I feel like because we have a whole school for magic where Micah, Caster Speller, and Shadow Weaver is at least used to be. Um, but they don't talk about how you get to use magic. Like, are you born with it and then have to learn to control your abilities? Or is it something anyone can learn? Like that, I don't think they ever go into that. Because it's also like when you see the other princesses who are human or like humans, like Perfume, Mamista, so on. Froster also. You don't, I don't think you really see like others from their nation being able to do the same things.
Isn't it because they are like the monarchs or something? Like it's the leader
Yeah,
of the individual kingdoms or whatever you want to
I
call it,
think it
who are
uh,
connected to whatever abilities there are. Like
yeah,
Perfumer with the tree and
yeah,
Froster with that big
yeah,
icicle. I
exactly.
don't know.
Like for example, we do see with Scorpia, um that she doesn't do her kind of magic, which is the lightning thing, until she connects with her nation stone.
The Black Garnet.
Yeah, exactly. And then she starts using when she connects with it.
Yeah.
But like, and that's what's with Glimmer as well, and the princesses, they connect with their stones. But the thing is, not every princess has a stone.
Don't they all have some type of connection object, whatever you want to call it?
Not that I know of, because I don't think that, like, Natasha and Spinnerella has a stone.
Are Natasha and Spinnerella princesses?
I
Aren't
believe
they
so.
just warriors?
I think they were part of the Princess Council or whatever it was called.
True, but all the others, there's only really one leader, so to speak.
Yeah.
And therefore only one person who can really use whatever power they have. Like when
Yeah,
Glimmer's
but then
mom
they
dies.
could just as well be from. They're not. They're not from the same country. I think they're from different nations. The two of them.
Sure, but I'm pretty sure they're married, aren't they?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they're from the same nation.
No, but surely their nations are connected somehow through that.
Yeah. In that sense, it probably is. But like, because like also that when it's talked about in season 5 that someone's attacking that mushroom town, they say that princesses are attacking. So by that, Spinnerella must be a princess. Because she's the one attacking it.
It does say that she's a princess. I just tried to Google her to make sure.
Yeah. Is Natasha as well? Does it say anything about that?
I'm talking about the Natasha.
Oh,
and Spinnerella is a princess too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But as far as I know, they don't have any stones like that.
I think maybe it's just not shown because it doesn't really. Like, they aren't huge characters, so to speak.
Yeah, so, I'm just over here being a nerd and being like, I want to know how the magic system works in this world. And I really do, because I'm so confused, because it's like, for Glimmer, for example, which is our prime, they are non-elemental princesses. Okay, so it's only the elemental princesses that has.
Oh yeah, I remember them saying that in the show, actually.
Okay, interesting. I must have missed that or forgotten it for that matter.
I forgot it too.
I guess Glimmer, what element is hers? Because she has a stone. The stone of bright moon.
Well, I mean, you could argue that technically ice isn't an element on its own. It's technically water, so I don't think...
Yeah, it's so fucking bull...
It's sparkle, yeah.
It's sparkle.
It's like, it's not like with Avatar where it's very cut through, like earth, wind, fire, water, like...
Yeah, that's it. But it's like, I think it's so bullshit kind of that they are elemental princesses, both Frosta and Mimista. And it's the same fucking element, just at different temperatures.
And Scorpias isn't exactly an element either, it's the weather.
Lightning. There's no fire princess.
No, Scorpia is the closest one we would get to that, I guess. Yeah. But not really.
Oh my god. And it's like, how is plants really an element?
Yes, you could argue that's the earth, maybe.
Yeah,
sort
but at
of.
the time when, like...
It's a stretch, though.
When goes to... when we go to the desert and she can't handle cacti, she can't do shit.
But then she figures out that she can, because they can make flowers or something. Like, what?
Yeah, that was kind of bullshit.
That was kind of dumb.
Yeah.
A little racist too, actually, if you think about it.
Against cacti?
Yeah. It's plant
system. How does it work when you just don't like a plant? Cacti?
Because she basically said she hated them and was like they were not even really plants, but then they were plants because they could make flowers. So like her view of what is or is not a plant was basically holding her back.
Okay. I don't know, Ayla, calling it racist I think is a bit of a stretch.
I'm mostly joking. I hope you can hear that.
Oh, okay. Oh, no, I didn't realize that. Sorry. Kind of some of the social things I was talking about. Not always realizing when people are joking or not joking is one of them.
That's why I called it plant cyst right after.
Oh, I see. I missed that one. But yeah, I know, like, the whole, like, cacti thing with considering perfumers' powers,
Yeah.
I was
It's a little silly.
yeah. But at the same time, I do enjoy the silliness that comes around in the show at times. So I like plot-wise, because it's like, oh, and now she can do it. I'm like, come on, guys.
Come on.
I mean,
I think that's one of those moments where you can feel that the creators didn't have that much time to create each episode.
yeah.
Like, they were on a little bit of a time crunch. And that's a shame, really.
Yeah.
But
But it's like, I do really love the joke of her being like, I just can't figure out how to use my powers with fucking cacti.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's fucking funny.
I love that moment too, Olive.
She gets to throw a tank.
I think that moment is also on a lot of, like, best funny moments from She-Ra or something like that.
Yeah, that's good. That was a good moment.
It's a really good moment.
I watched it twice now, and I love both. I laughed both times.
I'm currently, like, a little side project I have is that I'm just collecting all the Catra footage into one Sony Vegas Pro project, so I have it all for editing purposes.
Oh, please.
Oh, yes, all of that one too.
Oh, yeah, that was good. But Ayla,
Yeah?
please, at least for me, please do some some of your editing magic with some She-Ra stuff.
Oh, obviously I'm doing that. That's why I'm collecting the Catra thing.
Yeah, I know.
Do you want to know what I'm planning to do with it first?
Oh, yes, please, tell me. Is this an exclusive? I think this is an exclusive.
This is an exclusive moment just because one of my best friends is here and my patron too, and just this is people I love, so this is exclusive.
Yeah. Whew. Here we go.
I'm doing a Catra video with Hello Kitty by Avril Lavigne.
Oh my god. That is beautiful. Oh. Oh, I can't wait. I'm looking so oh yes. Oh my god, that's oh yes.
Immediately
I
decided.
am so here for this.
Immediately I decided I have to do that. I have to use that song.
Oh my god, yes, god damn it. Yes, Olive, it's so perfect.
I'm looking especially forward to just using the funny cat moments. Like when she's scared of water and just...
Are you planning on doing any shipping videos with Catra?
I'm doing Catradora, obviously, at some point.
Oh my god, yes.
I might also do just one big joke video or something, just doing small scenes, like a spoof video or whatever it's called.
Yeah. Well, that would be great. I would love to see that. And just so people watching at some point now or later on when you cut this out and put it on YouTube, this is a perfect example of why people should contribute to Ayla's Patreon.
Oh my god, you managed to do it twice.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying because let me tell you. When you subscribe to that Patreon, you get way more than you bargained for. And let me tell you, it's a bargain. You don't have to pay much, and you get some good shit. I saw the cutest bird video. I had not expected to see the cutest bird video. on that Patreon, but I did. And let me tell you, as we're so far only person that supports that Patreon, it's some good shit, and you should support the good shit she makes. She's gonna do fucking sheer editing shit on her channel, and this Patreon supports her so she can do all the good shit. So, come on, people, go scroll down, or wherever how you're watching is. But if you're watching here on Twitch, you scroll down and you click that Patreon button and you go and support her.
There is a link to my Patreon in my YouTube video descriptions too.
Yes, exactly. You scroll YouTube watches, you scroll down, you click on the Patreon link, and you go and support Mama.
Mama. Click and subscribe.
Yes. Click and subscribe.
I'm smiling so hard my cheeks are hurting.
That's great. That's what I'm here for. I love how supporting you are. It's amazing. Thank you, Olive. That's very nice of you. Well, I talked with Ayla about this before the podcast, and I told her that I had decided what going on here, that since she never shows her own Patreon, then I would do it for her. Because I think she makes some good content, and she's a lovely person, and she deserves love and support, and her fans should support her more by giving her money.
It all comes down to
what
money.
What can I say? It's very lonely in the Patreon at the moment. I would love to have more people in there with me so we can comment on what she posts and give her shit and all sorts of things.
I promise to be better at uploading stuff to Patreon.
Oh, that wasn't what I was referring to, but...
Oh, I know, but just in general.
Yeah.
I want to...
Listen, people, you get all sorts of good behind-the-scenes stuff. And also think about... Let's say that she plays another of those spicy games. Let's call it that. Yes. The spicy ones. And like there are times where she has to blur certain parts out. Imagine going to Patreon and it's unblurred.
That's actually an excellent point. Am I allowed to do not safe for work content on Patreon?
You don't have a big enough Patreon for them to care anyway, so just...
True. That's a very good point, though. This is where all the not safe for work content is. This is the uncensored versions. Maybe I could finally upload my coming out on top Let's Play there, then.
Yay, exactly.
YouTube made me take it down. Because it was not safe for work. Even though I censored it. What the fuck? Why?
YouTube has its ups and downs, that's for sure. Wait, what was a burn, Olive?
You saying my Patreon wasn't that big, I guess.
I mean,
I'm
right. The only person there. I feel like I'm allowed to say that.
You're allowed to burn me.
Yay! That's what I exist. That's why I exist.
I am consenting to you burning me.
Oh, I feel so special.
You're the only one I've ever given that permission to, so you should.
Oh!
I'm usually the one asking for consent, not giving it.
Oh.
That's what I said in my Q&A. I'm like 80% top, 20% bottom.
Oh, yeah. I remember
something like that.
Actually, also, if you do podcasts in the future, when you could also upload some of the extra saucy bits or something.
Yeah.
On Patreon, if for whatever reason YouTube would take it down for explicit content or whatever.
True.
So, people, saucy stuff will start to appear on her Patreon, apparently now.
That is a very good
point. The Patreon.
Like, I am planning on playing that erotic horror game, whatever it was that you talked about not that long ago.
Lust for Darkness or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lust for Darkness, Lust for
Yeah,
something at least.
that's not YouTube friendly. Let me. Yeah,
Like,
that's.
that's a good example because I want to live stream it on Twitch and I can't do that, but on YouTube I would have to censor it. So if people want to see the uncensored version, they're gonna have to go to my Patreon.
Yes, exactly.
That could be like, and the
I
patrons
mean,
only gonna have.
like, I'm just thinking that there's spicy cosplayers who people on their Patreon can see some very interesting photos. Let me just say that.
Oh wow!
And
If that's
those are
allowed, then.
fairly big Patreons. So I feel like you just doing it with gameplay would be fine.
Yeah, okay, that's a really good point. Thank you for saying that because I was a
Yeah.
little unsure whether that was allowed.
That was a very long rant about what they were talking about that, but
Yeah, we've also been streaming for 3.5 hours now.
Oh shit, that's true.
I think maybe this is a good place to stop it.
Yeah.
Before we
that's fair.
talk into the night too.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
I
maybe-
like how we always end up on deep topics like this.
Yeah, that's why I figured it was a good idea to do a podcast.
Yeah. Before ending, I would just like to say thank you very much for letting me be on your podcast because I'm sorry, I was looking at chat.
Yeah, me too.
Like it was so fun, and I hope we can do this again sometime. That would be absolutely amazing.
I would love to podcast again, or play
Yes.
games, or whatever we can think of.
Yeah, that would be absolutely amazing.
Thank you for joining me on my channel and my stream and my podcast and just everything. Thank you for talking about She-Ra and everything related to it.
You too. It's been such a pleasure just doing this. I think it's so much fun doing this together. So
Yeah, same.
I'm so in every time you want to do anything.
At first, when you started talking and you were like, before we go, I really thought you were gonna plug my Patreon again. I was just like, no, 2
now that
times
you
is enough.
mention it.
No!
Now that you mention your Patreon, thank you for reminding me.
What more could you possibly say?
Listen,
What?
a third person just joined in here. I don't know who you are, but this woman I've been talking with for way too long, honestly. She's amazing. You should go. Everyone watching should. Oh, been left. I'm sorry, but everyone should go. Just to a Patreon and just at least just think, not because you don't have to, of course, give her money, but I mean, she would probably like you more if you gave her money.
You're calling me a slut?
No, not directly, but you know. Just saying that if you like Ayla and you want her to like you more, I mean, Patreon is a good way to go about it. just saying.
Well, that's a high note to end the stream on. The third time you're plugging my Patreon.
There was one for the beginning, the middle, and end. It's
Yeah,
perfect,
sounds
isn't
perfect.
it?
Thank you for joining me in the podcast. It was interesting to talk about She-Ra with you.
Thank you.
And
You
I
too.
would love to do a podcast with you again.
Yay!
Yay!
I can return as a guest. Woohoo!
Thank you guys for now. I still don't have an outro. I never came up with an outro and even less with a podcast. If you have a suggestion, throw it at me. Toss it at me.
Ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha.
That's a good
Well,
way to
in
end
that
it.
case, I guess I could like repeat some of your introduction with Hope you have a good day, dudes, dudettes, and dudles. Ayla says hello, and so does I. And I hope you have a absolutely lovely evening, day, or whatever, wherever you're at in the world, listening or watching this.
And take care of yourselves, because now
Yes,
is very trying times.
it really is. And I hope that this podcast maybe have helped on getting your minds off of that.
Yeah.
So, take care.
That's a good place, Andy. Thank you, Toss.
You're welcome.